Divorce Right. And we provide training for HR professionals and company supervisors, and we provide divorce coaching and case management for your divorcing employees. And I want to introduce you to Paulette Rigo right there. She is a certified divorce coach, a certified divorce specialist, a credentialed mediator, and the director of coaching and management here at Divorce Right. And together, we tackle the biggest disruptor in your company, divorce. And I'd like to remind everyone that each week we have SHRM credits for SHRM members. And I'll be providing a link towards the end of this discussion so that you can fill out that form to get your credits. And also, if you would like a resource guide for your employees, I am going to put a link in our chat so that you can go on and grab that resource for your employees. Gives you all sorts of, depending upon your state, gives you all sorts of resources for your employees. And we want you to have that. And that's our gift to you today. So thank you so much for joining us. So Paulette, I just wanted to turn it over to you to say hello. And I will, you know what, before that, let's do this. Let me introduce our guest today, because we're going to be talking about something very important in the HR community, and that's about building resilience. And we have an amazing guest, Amanda Gardner, here with you. Amanda is an executive and business coach. She is with Coach Executives Limited with 10 years experience as a member of the European Mentoring and Coaching Council. She works with ambitious and driven high achievers to help them identify and develop the skills they need to become impactful and eminent leaders. Amanda largely works with fast-moving, client-focused businesses based in London, UK, within which excellence is both prevalent and expected. Having experienced firsthand the negative impact that divorce can have on a person's work life, Amanda also trained as a divorce coach with the UK-based Divorce Coaching Academy. In combination of leadership and divorce coaching skills, enables Amanda to work with successful individuals experiencing divorce so that they can keep performing at work and protect the careers or businesses that they've spent years building and enhancing. Amanda is also a passionate advocate that life after divorce can be incredible, and as such is the founder of the Divorce Hive, an online community and digital program which inspires and motivates midlife women who need to rebuild magnificent futures as a result of divorce. Outside of her personal life, Amanda is a busy single mom of 3 teenage girls living in Kent with their Tibetan Terrier Worcester and an antisocial hamster called Keith. Welcome, Amanda. How are you today?
Oh, thank you for the lovely introduction. I'm very well. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. You know what, Paulette, now I'm going to officially turn it over to you to get us started.
Well, I'm so glad we're here. And thank you, Amanda, for joining us in this crusade that Vicki and I are on to really empower HR professionals and business owners to be able to give their employees the resources they need to be able to get through any stage of divorce. Because as the three of us know, it does encompass everything and really it can take a toll on them as they're going through it. So with that, it takes resiliency, courage, a little bit of strength to be able to get through that, right? It isn't something that we just say, oh, guess what? I'm going to get a divorce, or my spouse just asked for a divorce and give me the list of things I need to do. And, I'm going to be done. It isn't a quick fix, right? This is it's as we say, a marathon and not a sprint. So thank you. And I love that we are expanding and you're across the pond, my dear. And I know it's good evening to you, but good afternoon to us here in the States, and good evening to everyone listening in England and beyond. So thanks again. So with your very varied and deep experience, you must have personal experience with just how divorce impacts every areas of people's lives. And so how do you personally see divorce's impact showing up in the workplace for both individuals and in their businesses?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, divorce is one of those life events where it really does impact every single aspect of your life, from your family and friends to your mental health or your well-being, to where you live, who you live with, your finances, how you parent. It's difficult to think of a part of your life that it doesn't impact. And clearly that then leaks through to how you show up in the workplace. So for individuals, I guess we see that manifesting in maybe a failure to focus or difficulty in focusing because they're distracted. Might see somebody catastrophizing things a little or becoming maybe short-tempered or emotional. You might see some physical effects in terms of them maybe losing weight or they're not sleeping, so they're looking tired. And I guess the main thing I see with some of my clients is the impact on their personal brand, how they're being perceived by their colleagues. And so this relatively short-term event can have quite long-term implications on how that person is perceived. And then I guess for the business, the challenges are around, productivity. How is that person showing up in their role? Are they delivering what they need to deliver? But also morale, and not morale just for the person, but for their team or the people around them that are impacted. So, yeah, I think that those are the main areas I see it having an impact in the workplace.
Because even if they're an entrepreneur and they're working individually, right? It affects them, but then you take it into small business and medium-sized business and big business and corporate business, and some businesses are, well, thousands and hundreds of thousands of employees. So then it just sort of trickles down, or mushrooms, right? Or keeps growing and growing and affecting departments and coworkers, and therefore it's like a domino effect, right?
It certainly can do,
Yeah,
for
right.
sure.
And I know Vicki and I have even heard that divorce is contagious, right? Where, you've got that, oh, did you hear so and so's getting divorced and this one's getting divorced? And before you know it, it becomes a little bit more, well, something people are catching on. Yeah. Well, that list is daunting, if nothing, because you can see that, the productivity, the focus, all of those things have a major impact. So if we understand that divorce can have an adverse effect on how do you help clients maintain it and in turn protect the business's interest. So how do we help them with that? What is the answer to that adverse effect? What can we then do as an HR professional or a business to help come in and help them manage the process itself?
Well, I guess, some of this is about being a little bit realistic and understanding that some of the consequences of going through divorce are inevitable and we can't avoid them. And so it's dealing with it. But what I find with individuals that I work with is that sometimes when divorce happens, we can think of it as being a very personal thing. And we can think that it's very pervasive. It affects every part of our life. And obviously that we also feel as though it's permanent. And those are the dreaded 3 Ps. And I think if business can keep an eye on those 3 Ps and try and reverse them in an individual's mind, that can really, really help. So for example, it's not really personal, right? It's a life event. It happens to people all over the world. In the same way, death or disease, those aren't personal to you. It's not pervasive. There'll be parts of your life that aren't made worse by this divorce. So let's focus on those. And it's not permanent. You're going to recover. So I think what I do with clients is try and work on reversing those 3 Ps. And to do that, we really need to dig into resilience and building the resilience of an individual. So resilience, as you know, Paula, is one's ability to bounce back from adversity and deal with adversity. And without it, coping with a divorce in the workplace would be pretty tough, I think.
And everyone is born with a certain degree of natural resilience. It's part of growing up and being born. We've all met those babies that fall down and get right back up again, right? and you think like, oh, how did the kid just not even cry, right? And it's not that, I mean, this kid doesn't know anything societal. It's just, it's a
Mm,
part of who they are. So naturally, we all fall in a continuum of how much natural resilience we're born with. And if we can, as a professional, a coach, a guide, help them build their, I like to call them courage muscles or resiliency muscles, right? Because it's almost like
right.
going to the gym, right? You lift a 1 pound weight and you're like, are you kidding me? Like, the little, I call them Barbie weights, right? They're like this big, right? And before you know it, you're like, oh, I could do heavier. And you're 3 pounds, 5 pounds. And before you know it, I mean, I wouldn't think that I could lift weights heavy, but before you know it, it's little tiny increments of them saying, oh, uh, I had a success, and we build on that little success story, those tiny little baby steps of increments. And I love how you broke that down into that. It's not personal, it's not permanent, it's not pervasive. It is a formula that people can identify with, that doesn't just feel like a tidal wave or a tsunami coming at them. It's something digestible, right? A little small bites, right? Yeah.
Right, absolutely. And I think you do need strong resilience to address those three things, though. And
Mhm.
as you said, right, resilience is a muscle, it can be built, it can be broken down, but we can rebuild it. And I think maybe that's the role that employers can play, is
Mm.
trying to rebuild some of that resilience in their employees.
So in the business, with corporate, with the HR, where they're feeling like, oh, there's all these people here, and like, there's a fine line of what I could share and what I shouldn't share, and as working with people, that those little signs that you mentioned earlier, that maybe there were little signposts of things to know for, but like, it's just really confusing for them about, like, I mean, for all of us too, you and I, that are in the trenches with people going through it. But for most people, resilience is that superpower that needs to be practiced and developed. But can you tell us more about how it can help individuals going through divorce, and what are the benefits to the employer when they have an employee that in fact does have resilience, so that they can see, oh, this is a skill that I need to help them develop?
Sure. I mean, I guess the second part of that question is much easier, because a resilient employee is going to bounce back much quicker, is going to be more motivated, more engaged in their role, and is going to be
Mhm.
much more productive a lot sooner after their divorce. So that's the benefit. How we get there. So would it help? I kind of break resilience down into 6 components, and I work with my clients on each of those. Would it help to go through those 6?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I think the first one is about purpose. And so it's about looking at, with your employees, what's your purpose? Because, like anything in life, if you're a bit down, if you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, the direction you're traveling in, then that helps you move towards it. So I
Mhm.
think employers can try and understand where their staff are trying to go. What's your purpose? If they don't have a purpose, can you provide a purpose that that individual can engage with? Can you give them a sense of direction, a sense of somewhere to go? And that's really crucial for resilience, because if you know where you're going, if you can see
Mhm.
it, you'll get there. So that's the first one. I think the second one is around growth mindset. So, okay, you're getting divorced. It's not great. Maybe this wasn't the plan. And you can be negative about it and sit there, or you can say, okay, maybe I can learn from this and take that forward. What piece can I take forward that will serve me in my life going forward? So maybe employers can have that conversation. What are we going to get that's positive out of this situation? The third one is around support. And for resilience, a good support network is vital. And employers can help with that. So how do we support these people who are divorcing? Can you offer counseling, therapy, coaching? Can you offer an ear, someone to talk to? Whatever the support network is, or ask the individual, what support do you need? What will work for you? Because support is a crucial, crucial part of resilience. The fourth one is around self-belief. Does this person believe they're going to get through it okay? Do they believe they're going to continue to do a great job for you? So how can you boost that person's self-belief? How can you encourage them and increase their confidence?
Mm.
The last two are around, firstly, flexibility and adaptability. So how do you encourage your employee to have flexibility of thought and adaptability of action? Because certainly when you're going through a divorce, you need that. You need to be flexible. You need to think things differently. You need to do different things to get through it. So encouraging them and maybe highlighting where they do that in their work role can really boost their confidence that they can do it outside of work as well.
Mm.
And the final one's around emotional literacy. So understanding your emotions and what's going on and how they do and don't serve you. And I think that's around conversation, really, exploring, being curious.
Beautifully said.
Very beautifully said. I loved all of those, and I put those in the chat so that you could hopefully use those when you have somebody in your office that I think is so valuable for building their resilience. So would you walk us through an understanding of resilience to help employers care for staff during times like this?
Yeah, I think it is around those 6 things and what can the employer do? What can they actually do in each of those areas to explore with their employees? So as I said, purpose, it's about how do you support them? So if you have an individual, do they have a purpose that you can support? So if it's around, for a lot of people, their purpose will be maybe supporting their children, being a good parent. How can your employer, as an employer, how can you support that purpose? Maybe it's a little bit about flexible working while they're going through this time. Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's giving them a purpose. Is there something they can do at work that they can engage with that makes them want to get up in the morning and come to work and do a good job?
Yeah, finding something that makes them happy and makes them feel like it's something to get up in the morning for. Because that's something that I think that as everybody goes through a divorce, you wake up in the morning and sometimes you just don't see that is there for you. And being resilient it's easy and it's hard, right? And that's the challenge of building resiliency, is because you've given some great steps on how to do that for us personally, myself personally, but also for the employer. So I appreciate that. So tell us about the Divorce Hive links into this resilience piece. How does that community help build resilience in the long term?
So for me, this is my passion, right? And I feel that sometimes the divorce impacts midlife women in a slightly different way. We've spent our lives building families, building careers, caring for others. And often after a long-term marriage or relationship, you then are left thinking, what now? What's my purpose? What's my future? And that can be devastating. And so the Divorce Hive is a place where midlife women can go and think, okay, I want a magnificent future. How do I get that? How do I explore what my purpose is? How do I get the support I need? How do I get the information? And what I want to do is create a program and a community where they can visualize, create, and start living a wonderful post-divorce life. And that all roots into resilience because we work through those 6 factors.
And we know that we were chatting before we started. We've been speaking with HR managers and corporate executives for the last year about divorce in the workplace. And resilience has always come up because I think that people started to see after the pandemic coming back to work that people had lacked resiliency. So this conversation today is not only valuable about divorce, but it's valuable for any issue that you have in your life that may be causing you to feel a little bit off kilter. And so having a support group. So tell us about your support group. How does that work in that? Is there a course? Is there an outline?
Yeah, so there's a 12-week program which you can work through. And that helps you to take a look at, well, what now? That's where it starts, right? What now? What am I going to do now? I don't know. I'm 52. I've been divorced for 2 years. Now, what does my life look like?
Yeah.
And I think having that purpose, that direction of travel, then gets you through the difficult times. So the community will then look at providing ideas. What do you want to do with your career? How can you do it? Do you want to retrain? Do you want to just do something different? We're offering advice, information, support. We also have fun stuff in there. So we're looking at dating, dating after divorce, and co-parenting.
That takes some resiliency.
That sure does. For sure.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, a whole host of things. And the big thing about the Divorce Hive is that it is that community. So it's a community of midlife women all going through the same thing at the same time. So it's fun.
I love the name, Amanda, the Divorce Hive. At first you think it's like, oh, bees, and I get stung, right? But it's this nice, warm, kind of tight, safe place, right, where you can kind of let down your hair and feel safe and heard. And I love that it's a 12-week program. Some people going through divorce tend to think like, oh, commitment is a long time. I've got a lot on my plate. And they're like, if it's years and years and years, they're like, that's too long. Whereas if it's really short, like a week or two, like, well, what am I possibly going to accomplish, right? It needs to be a digestible amount of time where they can really sink their teeth in and have it accomplish something, but not be so intimidating. I always like to think of resiliency as what I call eliminate and discriminate. Like, think of it as like being able to discern the question, is this action in my best interest? And sometimes we don't always know what that is because we've lost touch because what was now isn't. So we have to redefine who we think we are and who we thought we were, and in a good way, not necessarily with the, well, that was a failure and I can't do that. And there's too much woulda, coulda, shoulda, guilt, regret, and all that, and putting that aside and seeing it as, what is the lesson I learned, and kind of getting the momentum with the support of a community behind you and support of other people that have been through it and have gotten through it well with a positive result, not necessarily the result you're looking for. Like you said, who am I? What now? Because women particularly don't know what's next because they don't even know what they want. And being okay with that, not necessarily knowing that what is the answer, but being willing to work your way into the answer with the support and the expert guidance of coaches and other professionals that can help you get where you want to get. It's possible. I'm remarried. I never thought I would do that. Crazy woman. But it took me a long time to get to that point. But it does take the comfort and the expertise of others to hold you by the hand, give you that hug, even if it's virtually, and give you tips and tools and things that you can do to keep moving forward, to gain your strength and courage back, and look in the mirror and not even realize the new you. You won't even recognize who you are, and be okay with that. And if you're not getting the support you need, don't be afraid to ask for it too. And that includes professionals too. Sometimes the HR people don't know who to go to I need help helping other people, and being okay with getting the help that they need.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and with everything that we've all gone through, all of us here on this call today, and probably people listening have been through a divorce, and we all know, without support, that this can take a very, very long time to get through. And you're looking, and I'm talking, and when I say this, I'm pointing my fingers back at me, because I struggled for a very long time. And I know I was not at my best. And I also know that had I had the support, this is one of the reasons that I've started Divorce Right, because we don't know what we don't know. I had never heard of a divorce coach before. God, did I know that my life would have been so much different had I had one. I know that the issues that I faced by myself, I could have done so much better had I just had the support of somebody that knew the path that I was going to go down, and maybe helped me divert, or making things easy for me. So thank you so much for this conversation about resiliency. It's super, super important after a divorce that somebody comes back and is able to pick themselves up by their bootstraps. And so we hope that today you got some great tips. Amanda, would you give them some of your contact information so they can reach out to you?
Sure. So we have a Facebook group, the Divorce Hive. On Instagram, I'm at the Divorce Hive, and the website is resetdivorcecoaching.co.uk, and you'll see the Divorce Hive on there as well.
I'm going to put this up on our chat. Resetdivorcecoaching.co.uk. That's I forget. I oftentimes have the
there it is.
Yeah, there you go. So you can reach out to Amanda there. So thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Paulette. And just one last reminder, you can grab your free resource guide. And if you are a member of SHRM, you can fill out this form at this link right here to get your SHRM credits. We have a half an hour each and every week. We hope you will join us, and for more tips and techniques on how you can help your divorcing employees get back on track, show up fully focused to be performing and productive members of your team. So goodbye for now, and we will see you all next week with another edition of Divorce Right. Bye for now.